Good morning and welcome to Morning Pulse, the pulse of Nigerian politics, right here on Active Citizens. My name is Sharon Enemchuku. Joining me in the studio as always, I have with me my co-host, person of Ifoma Oji. Good morning, how are you doing?
Good morning, Sharon.
How are you
doing?
I
feel like doing like this.
You can.
Well, I'm doing great as always.
We love to see that.
Yeah.
Also joining us, we have our analyst in person of Mr. Daniel Sacramento. Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm managing Nigeria.
Yeah, Nigeria is managing us too. Now we're going straight. We've got two major stories for us today, each significant in its own way. But first, we're starting with the Federal Ministry of Education that has announced that the long-standing policy of using indigenous mother tongue as the medium of instruction in our schools has been scrapped. And going forward, English will be the sole language of instruction from primary through tertiary levels. Now, second, we have the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, has secured convictions in a job scam involving two staff of the National Assembly who defrauded job seekers of 4.8 million naira by promising employment at agencies like the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, and the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS. We'll unpack both stories, what they mean, who wins, who loses, and what this says about the future of our education system and public service integrity. But today, we're starting first with what happened, what is happening in our schools right now. We saw that the minister came out to make this announcement at an event, hosted by the British Council, talking about the fact that over the years and by the data that they have, students have failed their exams or global international exams because from primary 1 to primary 6, it is advised, or according to the 2022 Act, you use your indigenous language to teach, right? You use your mother tongue to teach these kids. And then when you enter JSS1 to tertiary institution, you formally use English language. But that's is about to change, as they have come out to make it compulsory for English language to be the sole language used for instructions in our institutions. And I'm starting with you, Ifoma, with this particular change. What do you make of this change?
Well, for me, I think this sudden development is kind of rushed and misguided, because according to what you mentioned earlier, in 2022 they made it mandatory for people to use their indigenous languages to teach students in school. And more like, for me, I feel like it was more like retaining the cultural heritage of institutions and the Nigeria at large, and seeing it being reversed. For me, I think it was actually misguided, because you're saying that the reason why this was reversed is because of the fact that students are underperforming in JAB, NECO, and WAEC. Is it that you cannot find other means or other solutions to, children performing better in schools? For example, it might actually be that they are underperforming because they don't have the adequate materials or resources, you understand? Not just that. The teachers, did they obtain proper training before they are being employed in schools? These are the areas that you need to explore before you come to a conclusion and bring up new development. For me, like I said earlier, it's actually misguided. It is. And it's more like it's drawing us back. More like this is an advancement. I feel like technology is advancing. In as much as technology is advancing, we still need to maintain our cultural heritage, which is part of our language.
But Ifoma, this situation, this issue about culture in Nigeria and the westernization over here in Nigeria has been an issue, even with accents, right? We know that we have over 600 languages, 29 that has been scrapped, but we have different languages, and with those languages we have different accents for them, which is supposed to be encouraged, seeing that other nations as well have their accents, their languages, and all of that. But with this change now, Mr. Daniel Sacramento, is it that the federal government is more concerned about their the students' international performance, performing well with international exams, or have they, like what Ifoma said, just deviated from what the exact issue is for students' mass failure in exams?
Okay, it's misguided, like Ifoma said, but from one aspect. Then from the aspect of the government, basically, speaking good English, it's one of the general language that people could use all over the globe. It's okay, it's acceptable, but the truth about it is this, that maybe the way the reporter reported it might not be the same way the government might have, decide to bring it on the table.
How do you think maybe they intended?
They intended to say English language becomes the general use, but the reporter is using scrapping mother tongue. It's not possible you do that. You can't scrap mother tongue from the school. So that's why I'm just trying to balance what the reporter said, but it's not possible. No. You can't.
What they are scrapping is not the teaching of the mother tongue. What they are scrapping is using it to teach.
Using it to teach.
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to let you know, because you can actually scrap it. And when you go to the far north, there are places where if you don't bring up their language, they won't comprehend exactly what you're trying to teach. So there are places also in the south, it's in the rural, that you can't be speaking English to them.
Yes.
Because definitely you'll be making fool of yourself. So you have to be combining the both languages so that you'll be able to get the actual result and the knowledge to impact them rightfully. So it's not that's why I'm saying that scrapping might not be the language. Do you understand? But normally English has always been what we use in school generally. Now you can't stop mother tongue. It's not done. Even in Anambra State, on Wednesdays, the state government made it mandatory that you speak your dialect, even in the offices and in the school.
Interesting.
Yes, then you see.
And we see it in universities like music, where you have compulsory Igbo language.
It's compulsory. When you get to the West, their language, they have a particular day when their language is a must in the whole school. So,
well, Mr. Daniel, when you ask a lot of children, right, why they can't speak their languages, they will tell you that when they go to school, vernacular is a crime. You can't speak vernacular. You can't speak Yoruba, you can't speak Igbo, you can't speak Pidgin. It has to be English. And if you do that, there is a fine for those things. And they grow up, with that English language, and they're unable to speak their dialect. But with what we had in 2022, what was being practiced up until now, they allowed for the use of indigenous languages for teaching from primary 1 to primary 6. Now they have changed that. So what will not be the fate of our languages?
If a student says, because we are not allowed to speak a dialect in school, and that's why it cannot speak, that's a very beautiful lie.
No, but it's actually true.
No. You don't subscribe to that because you are coming from a background. You have a home. The mother, your father are all there. Your siblings are all there. You meant to communicate with them. I have my kids. I communicate with them with my dialect. I don't speak English to them.
And I'm trying to tell you that it is very much possible.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Yes, I agree with you in the school. But when a child who has a home and a tradition and have a tribe begins to say he cannot speak his or her dialect, I'm not looking at the school as the problem.
The parents.
I'm looking at the home where you're coming from.
But there are also some kids that were able to pick up some languages, and if you ask them, they'll say they learned it in school, some indigenous languages.
That's what I'm saying. What level of impact with that the percentage the school impacts in you more than your home? I don't know if you understand.
If you are
no. It is your home.
Balanced.
No. Your home is the bedrock of your language. That is the truth. I have a friend who lives in the United States. In fact, she had all her kids in the United States. She's in Nigeria. She's in Nigeria. The kids are all Nigerian, but she doesn't speak English language to them. She doesn't.
I think
it's, in fact, it's banned. And in total, if you are entering her home, she will tell you, please don't speak, except you are not an Igbo person. She said, please don't speak English language to my kids. I want them to learn our dialect. So it's a pari passu, but the high level of it, the bulk of it should come from the home. Yes, it's the home.
I think it's the same thing that I'm actually saying. I think there should be a balance. Everybody have a role to play here.
Exactly.
But not to say that schools should be scrapped from speaking their mother tongue. For me, like I said earlier, it's misguided. And I think also
it might be misuse of language by the reporter.
Okay, and then it's possible, it's possible, but talking about it, I think everybody's just airing their opinion on this particular matter. And I just want to equally add to the fact that I think that in as much as they are coming up with new development or reversal of the vernacular language, they should equally try as much as possible to instill skill-driven, what's they call cultures in students and in schools. Because if you go to China, they don't really care about English. They don't give a damn about English. They are focused on the skill. You understand? They are focused on what can my child be able to achieve, what can my child do with their hands. So yes, I think they should actually maybe like instill some of these things. Maybe, for example, if it is knitting, if it is all these skills.
You're talking about handcraft.
Yes, it's not in schools.
No, it is.
So if they are coming, I'm telling you that it's not in schools.
It is.
Even if it is in
we did when we were in school.
Widely
that was how I learned how to make basket, how to make broom, and plant things in the farm and all those stuff. It was really my mom as well, enhanced in what we've learned in school, learned in school there. But then I want to tell you something, why Nigeria is quite difficult in the language aspect. The truth about it is that Chinese have only one language and one tribe, and they understand their languages. But when you come to Nigeria, we have multiple bilingual languages here. Even only in Rivers State, they have almost 36 languages in Rivers.
To tell you that we have 600 languages generally in Nigeria, it is a whole lot. But Mr. Sakareto, also I also want to ask this thing, because when you want to apply for studies abroad, you are required to write, even from Nigeria, IELTS. But we are an English-speaking country, right? English and French, but majorly English-speaking. And with this new change coming out to say that from your primary through tertiary institution, you are to speak English, should Nigeria still be writing IELTS exams?
Why not? That is a requirement for where you're going to.
But the reason for IELTS is to ensure that you can speak English, and it's not applicable.
They already know that we speak English, but it is a test of knowledge to get to really understand. It's not about that English that they're just testing your knowledge. You understand? It's a test of knowledge. That's
on English language.
On English language.
Okay.
So that even when you go into France or French-speaking countries, there is an exam and the interview they will interview you. Then you now find out that if you've been living in Cameroon, you find out that your own French is quite different from what people in Côte d'Ivoire speaks. You understand? And from what people in Congo DR speaks. Like Congo DR, they have Belgian language, and also they have French language. So the truth about it is, let's come down home, is that I still believe that the problem is the reporter. Maybe the way the story was reported.
It was the minister that actually
let me tell you, as a reporter,
there is a possibility.
No, that's what I'm coming. I said, as a reporter, different dailies will have different interpretations of what the
federal government
is saying. Now, like I just gave you a very easy one that you would easily know that it might be a use of
reports.
Yes. Now, you in rural areas, these are people who have not come to urban cities, but there are schools there.
Yes.
you can't just wake up and start speaking to them. You know it's not going to work. It's going to make your job very, very tedious. So definitely you will use their language to get their mindset prepared, and you start introducing the English language gradually to them, for them to, even Chinese. As I'm speaking to our people, are teaching them how to speak English. So you don't just say you now just come to
scrape it out.
No. It's not.
Okay,
it's
so
not.
you're saying
do that in the federal level, it will not happen
in the rural areas. And
it's
just to be honest, just to be practical, these are things that if the federal government is actually standing by this, they need to revisit and review, because you have to also consider it's not just the urban areas that, in fact, the rural areas make up more of Nigeria than the urban areas. So they need to consider them as well. You know, but talking about what happens after school, now we are going to the next story, talking about job scam, where 2 young men were scammed of 4.8 million naira at NAS. So they were promised a job at CBN and FIRS if they would pay the sum of 4.8 million naira each, and which they did to a certain individual who claims to have the authority to give them that job, and even went as far as writing them a fake employment letter. This happened back in 2021, and they are getting justice only in 2025 now. But let's take a look at the job market. We know that we don't have enough jobs in Nigeria, and the graduates are left wandering here and there. And you know, when you look at it, these things like paying for jobs is actually a real thing. People pay for jobs now. So let's also get to your comment on the act of paying for jobs, how corruption has eaten deep into the system.
You know, first of all, we know that Nigeria is kind of, everybody in Nigeria, when you're done with university, you're out in the market and you're looking for jobs. So it's kind of creates this vulnerability situation whereby you are tempted at every given situation when you see, you know, all this public service job or civil servant job, somebody is offering it on a platter for you. It's more like an opportunity that you have to, you know, explore and grab immediately, not even verifying if that is actually the what's it called, the right job or approach to it. And it is so sad that we've come to this point in Nigeria whereby everybody is, you know, ravaging the market, looking for something to sustain themselves. There is no job security. There is no form of what's it called, employment once you're done with school.
Empowerment.
Or even empowerment. It is quite sad that everybody is now ready at any given opportunity to take anything that comes in the table. And to be honest, like you rightfully said, it is actually very sad. And I think we should be moving forward to a situation whereby before you acquire any job or you go for any job, you vet. If there is maybe like a body that will vet all this, you know, jobs, appointments and the rest of them. And then again, this situation exposes something about, you know, more fraudulent activities, not just in CBN, but in so many, you know, parastatals. Like these 2 people that came up with this, it shows that they actually have more like how should I put it, an intel, not just an intel. They have more like a ground in those offices, because you cannot tell me that they are just ordinary citizens that just come out and kind of forge an appointment letter, you get, and give somebody that the person needs job or something like that. So I think there should be investigations more, because these are crimes that we just detected, you know, since 2021. There are still crimes that are yet to be detected.
Nigerians who have been scammed like this, but it's just that they have not gotten justice, or maybe they don't know how to go about it. But Mr. Daniel Sacramento, let's get your thoughts as well on this issue of job buying that we have currently.
Okay, Sharon, the truth about it is that even people who do this scam, is a job for them.
So it's not their actual job that is their job. This one is their real job.
It's their job now. Let me tell you, the truth about it is that the federal government, I know they can't give everybody a job. That's the truth. There is no time the government is going to provide everything that we need. But the government has the ability to provide enabling environment. A level playing ground where companies and individuals captains of industries can grow their businesses and grow it in a very, very comfortable way, which will help them to employ people. Now, one of the problems I have, if I become the president today, there will be no more NYSC.
Yeah, you've said that before.
I've said that, and I keep saying it because the aim has been defeated. We keep losing students. We keep having the coppers. We keep losing a lot of things, and that you've gone for NYSC is not a guarantee that there's going to be a job for you.
Exactly.
So you still come back to the labor market to look for what to do, and these are where an idle man is a devil's workshop.
Exactly.
These are where people begin to think of numerous evil to do. Some will think of how to do yahoo, cyber crime. Some of the ladies will take into professional hookup. Some of them will start doing all manner kinds of things, and which is not healthy to the society.
It isn't.
Now, why not empower and entrust students? When you make first class, there is a 15 million naira waiting for you. When you make second class, there is a 10 million naira waiting for you somewhere. Now, it's not just when you come out, they give you the money. You now think of what you want to do. You now think of the professional thing where you think you want to focus. Then you go into it. You go for training.
Yeah.
After a year training, or 2 years as the case might be, since it has to involve money, you come out. That grant, it becomes a grant, will be released to you.
But they have loans now, and they encourage students.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. That loan is for you to study. That's quite different. Now, we're not saying after you might have left school. So you don't use this grant to develop yourself. You what this grant is going to help us do is that when we reduce the level of Japa syndrome, because everybody is now comfortable having the finances to open up an establishment.
Yes.
Do you understand?
I get that.
And now when that person opens that establishment, he will not be running the establishment on alone. Because he has to employ.
Exactly. Especially
so now you have really saved, not just saving lives, you have also helped the productivity in the country.
Exactly.
You have opened up a chain. So these are things these people should be thinking of, for crying out loud. Not even the US today, there is always loan for them to school. So it's a normal thing. It ought to be there. Then when you are leaving school, you have something. They open up, they broaden your mind.
Yes.
So that you don't find out that now, look at what this will happen. Everybody who is in school will now want to school properly, not buying result, not trying to fake it, because I know if I finish, I have 15 million, 20 million naira waiting for me.
Exactly.
And it is basic. Then I will not go into another level of thing. Now you want to learn atomic, nuclear destiny. We have the places where they can send you. The government now sends you there.
Mr. Daniel, there was something that you said, well said, but there was something you said as well. I would like your thoughts on it. You talked about the fact that even after NYSC, that they would have to go back to the labor market. Now, I've had my fair share of experience in the labor market where I've also seen people who had that issue with getting jobs and submitting CVs, and there's always a problem with the information that these graduates have. They don't know how to write CVs, they don't know how to write cover letters, they don't know how to write their proposals or how to pitch ideas. Now, all of these things, which I feel is something that it's just the basic information that graduates should have, even from tertiary institutions, but we don't see that. So can we talk a little about the absence of basic knowledge about how to go into the labor market?
Now, who do you blame in the first place? It's the institutions. In school, I remember back then, a lecturer will come in class and they'll tell you, okay, this is a topic we're discussing today. Have you bought my textbook? And from the textbook, they'll tell you, I read from chapter 1 to chapter 10. And you're reading reading from chapter 1 to chapter 10, this might be actually in your year 1. You're yet to understand the vocabularies or the terminologies used in those. So how are you supposed to understand it? How are you going to experiment what you are reading in the first place? And they don't provide this avenue for people to ask questions and understand, you know, what exactly they are there for or what you are teaching them in the first place. So you see where the lapses starts is from the institution, not just institutions, from, you know, the primary level, which is secondary school. From secondary school you graduate to university. So these are problems.
But what about the lack of that basic knowledge, right?
It's the same thing that I'm talking about here.
Yeah, that's exactly what she said.
Exactly.
Now let me even help you, Ife. You see, it's quite unfortunate the level of education system we have now. Let me tell you, when I was in JS3, my mother, when I was in JS1, my mother would always tell you to go for extramural class to prepare you for junior WAEC.
Yes.
So I was attending extramural class of people who wants to write junior WAEC. Do you know what that means? It helps you to prepare you for that. So when you get to that aspect, it becomes a walkover for you.
Yes.
Now the problem is this: it's a chain issue. The students are involved.
Yeah.
The institutions are involved. The school curriculum are involved. Now, I remember, you know, how we were writing letters those days. Comprehension. Write a letter to your uncle. Write a letter to your daddy, telling him that you need your school fees and you need this and that. All these things, we were properly guided when we were in school. But now we have we have people who doesn't have that emotions anymore because of the government policies and the way they are being paid. Because those days they believe that teacher's salary is in heaven. But now they have to eat here before start going to heaven. So that's the issue. So it's a chain problem that we properly need a state of emergency in our education system.
I'm honest. Yes, it is actually quite bad.
And now again, let me tell you one of another issues. In university, they bring courses that does not relate to what you are studying.
Even after you're done, they send you in a field that you do not even know.
It becomes a burden
to the student.
Because you are trying to fashion how you will deal with 7 subjects or 10 subjects. I'm just going 10 subjects. Then they will not go and borrow 5 other courses.
Yes.
And it becomes now, it becomes and let me interest you. A student of mass communication came to my office. She doesn't know what is a console. She doesn't even know what some terminologies that mass communication students are supposed to use, are supposed to know. Even me who didn't write mass com, but because of my experience and all this stuff, I had to go and enhance myself. And that's why when you come, you understudy.
Yes.
So you need to study and gain all this experience. So they have to push out to me.
There's nothing like practical. Let me speak for mass communication.
No, let me tell you.
There's nothing like practical at all.
It's not even only bad. I'm coming to I went to a school. I don't want to call the school.
Okay.
A lot. That day they were launching some medical, not medical. They were launching some laboratories apparatus. The student came to speak and said, "This is the first time." Final year student.
It's very possible.
This is the first time I am seeing this. In my presence, I was the MC of the event. He said, "This is the first time I am seeing this. First time of final year students."
Final year students.
So you now imagine what that person will be outside school. That is where this thing comes from. So now the institutions keep beckoning on government. Also going on strike. Yes. They release fund. They don't equip their schools.
Exactly.
Now you keep bringing admission to school. You don't make proper arrangement and provisions for those students.
Exactly.
Imagine a final year student for the first time is seeing a laboratory equipment. So what time would that student stay in that school to come and learn all those something you were supposed to learn
year 1 or year 2.
See, let me even refer the fact that in school he mentioned something about having about 7 subjects that you're treating, and then you have extra maybe borrowed 5 to 6 borrowed courses that will make it around 15 or 16 subjects. And there's something that is still opaque to me in this whole thing. Why is it that a student, just one student, is studying or trying to understand 15 to 16 subjects when we have different lecturers for each of the subjects? I don't know if that is making sense. How is it that I am studying 15 subjects and I have one lecturer for maybe English or maybe computer? Why don't we have just one lecturer for 15 of those subjects?
It's not going to be possible.
That's what I'm trying to understand. It's not yet clear because it does not make sense. That is that same misguidedness. We are not even understanding what we are supposed to learn in institutions. If your computer or your tech, you want to learn tech, move to tech courses. They should teach tech courses. The curriculum should be all about tech.
You said something about curriculum, right? But there's something that I've noticed when you come out into the labor market, right? Especially when you have applied for jobs and you're on LinkedIn and all of that. See, that labor market is always changing. There are always new updates. The way you write your CV or the way you wrote your CV 4 years ago, it's not the same way they approve the CVs. We have AIs now that verify or read your CVs, and it needs a constant info. You need to be updated on how all of these things work. And this is why we think, I'm saying, for our universities, especially for final year, when you get to final year, shouldn't there be a course that is left aside for the labor market to prepare these graduates for the labor market, and it should be revised yearly? As soon as possible.
There's nothing like that.
That's what you just said down is the basic. If we have people who thinks, let me tell you, what you just said is basic. Now, they leave better courses to borrow and bring into your courses, which will prepare you for the outside market. This should be under entrepreneurship.
Exactly. Exactly.
So everybody should be taught that. But let me tell you, the whole system is down. Like I just told you, what ASU does every now and then is areas money, this and that. Right. How many times do ASU go around to check schools that they disburse all these monies to? Performances of the students.
Yeah.
It's not done anywhere. Do you understand? Yes. Now again, why not government having kind of technical schools? They are now converting technical universities into normal universities. It's not helping matters. Let me tell you, they have to have technical schools. And it is not a must. Everybody must go to regular university.
It isn't.
It's not. In China, if you have technical abilities, they send you to where you're going to learn how to do this fabrication and all these things.
It will have a specialization.
Okay, now let me ask this question: who is an illiterate?
Someone that can't read or write. Someone that can't read or write.
Someone that cannot read or write is an illiterate. Is that really basic?
It's a basic definition, yes.
But I
widely accepted.
Because I asked this question, I asked a professor who is an illiterate. They said a person who didn't have a formal education. I said, what is a formal education? If you think formal education is about going to university, then you better have a rethink. A professor of mechanical engineer goes to roadside mechanic to go and repair his car. So who is an illiterate among them? So then you be calling the mechanic and you how? You go there to visit him.
Oh my God! Wow.
So these are the issues.
Exactly.
So that is the truth. But so therefore, there's nobody who's an illiterate.
Yeah, I think
so. Nobody is an illiterate.
Yes.
Nobody.
To sum it all,
I think no. I'm going to come in there now, right? The use of the word illiteracy, I think a lot of people feel insulted when you call them an illiterate. But it's not supposed to be.
You're supposed to be illiterate in what field?
Yes, that's what you say.
Everything. You can't
know everything. So the problem is that we begin to see everybody who goes to university as somebody who is very very sad, very learned. And then you still go and work for somebody who didn't go to school. So what's the source of it?
Let me just say something quite
just
quickly.
1 minute.
Yes, it was actually on the formal story that we have, which is about the fraudulent activity involving 2 suspects and 2 victims. Now, I think I just want to talk on the punishment. I think it's not proportional. The fine is not actually proportional to the punishment they committed.
Okay.
That's money that they frauded the person, they defrauded the person. It's actually it's huge. 4.8 million is a lot of money.
It's not
so that
enough.
100,000 naira fine is not enough. It
But they have no. If they have paid back, they paid back the money.
No, they should be more. They are damages.
You know,
they are damages.
Totally agree with you.
100,000 is not
enough. All we are saying here now, we are analyzing here. It's not their fault. That's the truth.
It's not their fault.
But they use what they have to get what they want.
No, I mean, you drag us back to the story that we have passed. Please, let us end the show here. We've talked about the issues surrounding our education system in Nigeria, with the federal government allegedly changing or scraping mother tongue as a language used for instructions from the year primary 1 to primary 6, and making English language a sole language for instructions in Nigeria. Then we moved over to the situation in NAS, where 2 young men were scammed of their hard-earned 4.8 million naira because they were promised jobs at CBN and FIRS respectively. Now, all of these stories is pointing to one thing: Nigeria should call a state of emergency in its educational system. Let's take a look at what exactly is going on in there and how we can resolve the issue. Thank you so much, Mr. Daniel Sacramento, for doing this with us as always, and to my co-host, Ifoma Oji, for doing this with me every single time. I'm your host, Sharon N.M. Chuku, and if you're joining for the first time, this is Morning Pulse in Active Citizens Parliament. If you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, please endeavor to do so and follow us across all social media at Active Citizens. Find me across all social media at Sharon N.M. Chuku. And you, Ifoma?
You can find me on Facebook at Oji Sophia and on Instagram at Miss Alex.
Mr. Daniel is always in the studio. Till we come your way again later today, do have a great morning.